he ended up throwing a punch in the first quarter. The starting quarterback.
That was Miami for you.
And at that point, they kick you out of the game, so the first quarter, and played quarterback the rest of the game. I think 5 touchdowns that game. And that kid, funny enough, he got sick the next week. Had the flu.
I love that.
So I was like, let's go. From that game?
Yeah.
The Miami game?
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, there's a lot of lessons from that because it was obviously very tough. But let's say if one play goes how you want it to go, maybe 1 4th down conversion they don't get, and then, probably not getting those lessons and having those reflections. So in a way, it is a blessing in disguise because I was able to get better through the season rather than being satisfied because I just say the ball bounced, a different way, and we would have ended up winning by maybe a touchdown or maybe 1 point. Who knows? I would say the biggest lesson that I learned from that was to never take your foot off the gas. I'm not saying that we did, and I'm not saying, putting anything on anybody, but being up by that much, maybe switching, from aggressive to maybe a little less aggressive, which makes sense. I would do the same thing. But kind of just always have that mentality like, hey, not, oh my God, like we're surprised to be here. No, just keep on going and going and going. That's something I admire about Coach Cignetti is when they were up in Purdue at 40-0, they kept on going and went 66 to nothing. So that's something that I admire, and just always all gas, no brakes, never know what could happen. The football's an odd-shaped ball. It can bounce any way. You never know what happens. So, especially
college football. You're taking the words out of my mouth. I was going to say one coach that won't do that's Coach Cignetti.
Yeah.
That guy, he wants to win by as many points as he possibly can.
Yeah, and granted, I mean, I've seen it firsthand when you're up by a lot of points, you don't win. So why not just try to score as many points?
One thing that's in your family that I have in common is I went to Brown. Your dad's a Brown grad.
No, he went to Brown?
Yeah.
What class?
2009. So definitely way after. But still, both my parents went. So you got, growing up, was there ever pressure to go to Brown?
I would say, actually, when I was playing football, I wasn't really sure what I'd fall on the recruiting tracks because at first I was like, let's focus on one thing at a time. Let's, get to high school. And when we get to high school, let's start on my high school team. Once we start on the high school team, let's try to be as good and put up as best stats as I can. And then coming around my senior year, it's like, all right, I'm starting to get some Ivy League looks. And so I ended up getting my only one official offer from University of Yale. I got a couple other verbal offers from Penn. Yeah, now that I think about it, I went to Penn too.
That's weird. And Brown didn't even come into the picture. That's what's wrong.
And we went to the Brown camp. We did the Brown camp and all that stuff. And didn't end up working out. I wish it did. I wish we got the offer just so my dad and I could share that special moment.
That's
there.
Funny because Brown people love Brown.
My dad loves Brown.
I'm sure your dad loves talking about Brown all the time.
Oh yeah. So Brown in my head, when I went through the process at first, everybody has the cliches and stereotypes, what a top tier Ivies and stuff like that. So it's I'd get asked, and all my friends would be like, oh, I think it's Yale, Harvard, and Brown. And then everyone would be like, okay, that's, kind of a hot take. I'm like, hot take? Obviously Brown's one of the best Ivy League schools.
I agree.
So I was kind of instilled from my dad. He rode there. So he did crew there. So he's an athlete there. And it was a little disappointing, but ended up working out.
Your journey playing football, how early did you start playing? Were you always a quarterback or were you trying some other things?
I would say I was trying some other things. I would say I was in the flag football, kind of my mom was like, let's do some soccer, do some other sports, do some basketball, do some football. And I ended up doing flag football. I think at 5th grade or 4th grade, I started playing tackle football. But at that point, even back then, now it's 10 times worse, how competitive these kids are from a young age. Not saying it's a bad thing, just saying the specialization in sport at such a young age is only increasing and only getting younger and younger and younger. So when I started in 4th grade tackle football, I was already behind the 8 ball. So they had me at 2nd string defensive end, 3rd string tight end, and 4th string quarterback. The only reason I even kept on playing quarterback was because, I don't know, my mom wanted me to. My dad was like, just have him play defensive end or tight end, it'll be fine. My mom's like, no, quarterback. So ended up working out as we can
you're doing it
my
now.
Prediction.
You're doing it now, but when you were young, working through that process, what got you up the depth chart? Was it just pure perseverance, or was it you had a chance to play once and it went well? That's an early age.
Yeah,
I don't know how those dynamics work.
I would say so. The 4th grade, I never played not one snap of quarterback. They put me in because everybody at that age needs to play. So they put me like my 5 plays, like 4 DN, and like 1 at tight end for like field
Your
goal.
brother said DN didn't work out very well.
No, at all.
That wasn't successful.
At all. No, it wasn't successful at all. And then 5th grade, actually, one kid moved out of town, and the other kid like ended up was a year older. So it was only 2 quarterbacks that year. There was a starter in the backup, and I was backup. And I was a starting defensive end though. So, I was the defensive end. I wasn't very good. I was terrible.
That's the rumor.
I was terrible.
It was not good. You're not a good defensive player.
Yeah, not a good defensive player. But there's one game that one of the kids in like the first game, what ended up happening is he ended up throwing a punch in the first quarter. The starting quarterback.
That was Miami for you.
Yeah, so he threw a punch, and at that point, they kick you out of the game. So the first quarter, and I played quarterback the rest of the game. I threw 5 touchdowns in that game. So let's go, Joe Montana. And then the coach still said, hey, we're going to have the other kid still play. Just because the other kid was like kind of hometown hero, whole thing. And that kid, funny enough, he got sick the next week. Had the flu.
I love that.
So I was like, let's go. And then so I had another good performance. I don't think it was a 5 touchdown performance, but I think it was like maybe 2. I remember it being against a good team, and we won. So I think that's all that mattered. And at that point, they kind of just like, all right, we're going to rotate you, but you're going to be the starter for the rest of the season. Ended up writing that out. And then 6th grade, started playing for my middle school. And then my middle school, another quarterback competition. And honestly, my entire career, I've always been like the backup. And something has always happened starter and always somehow gone in and finished the end of the season. So
you've learned like a lot of people's journey. Like they have a lot of the guys I'll talk to, at least on shows like this, they were good the whole way. Like, and then college is kind of that like wake up moment of, oh, wow, these guys are really good. Not for you. Like, no. It sounds like you got to learn that there was something greater at place that wanted to let you keep playing, because it was constantly like, I have to go prove myself.
Yeah, I mean, it was always like that. 6th grade, one of my friends, Eddie Durant, I was competing against him, and it was a super tight quarterback competition. And honestly, he's probably a little better than me at that point. But a high school kid who didn't have his pads, or was like a JV kid who didn't have his pads, stole his pads. Like just a practice one day, so he couldn't practice for 2 days straight, and they gave me the extra reps on those extra plays. So I think that's what pushed me over the edge. 7th grade didn't play at all, like really at all. I played more snaps at tight end and receiver than I did at quarterback, and those were like when we're up 40-0 in middle school. Like this is not like high stakes at all. 8th grade I was able to play. 8th grade I was able to play, but it was a quarterback competition till the end. 9th grade backup. 10th grade backup rotational. 11th grade competition into the year and like into the season. Then at the season, that was COVID year. Ended up finishing out the season. 12th grade started at that point because I won the competition. Freshman year, college scout team. Sophomore year, or redshirt freshman, ended up not playing the first 5 games. And then at the end of the game, at that 5th game, played at Oregon State, finished the season. Last year, they brought someone in to replace me. And I beat him out at the end of the fall.
Who was the guy they brought in?
Chandler Rogers, North Texas.
That's right. I remember that. So I was thinking he was a good player.
He was a really good player. Yeah, I think he had like 39 touchdowns, great deep ball. Like he was a stat machine over there in North Texas.
I remember.
I mean, a really good player, and he ended up coming into Cal. We ended up competing, and it ended up working out. How it did. I mean, he's a good player, and I had good things to say about his playing ability. So, but yeah, it's the last year, and then ended up taking that over. And yeah, I mean that competition, a lot of people don't know, I actually went into the season. Like our first game, like usually when college quarterbacks, they compare stats, stuff like that, everyone has that first game against maybe a lower school that's 500, 600 yards, like a crazy 7 touchdown game that puts everybody ahead like in the stats race, which is kind of like an arms race. And it's funny enough, my lowest yardage game was in that UC Davis game, my first game. It was like only like 100 yards. And then next week we played Auburn at Jordan Hare, crazy whiteout game, like sold out 80,000. And the week before, they'd killed their opponent 6-0. And they were looking so good. And I was like, we're like, okay, it's going to be, see how this goes. And in the tunnel, they're like, all right, Fernando, you're going to take 2 drives. Chandler, you're going to take 2 drives. And I'm like, oof, I don't know how that's going to go. First 2 drives against Auburn, we score first drive, second drive for a really good drive. At that point, just think come out of the game, they'd come out the rest of the season. So it was kind of like a little bit of chip on our shoulder. All right, you're not going to take me out of the game.
What was that conversation like when they tell you you're coming back in? Like, because that's got to be a really weird thing on the other side of that. You're expecting, all right, drive 3, I'm in, and then you're not.
that's happened to me before in my past, where it kind of sucks. Where it's happened to me a lot of cow. Where when I played Michael, we're getting killed at Washington. Like, hey, Fernando, get ready, warm up. Never go in. That happened against Arizona State too. And so it's like, all right, 2 more drives and you're in. And honestly, a little bit of it's always a disappointment because everyone's out there, everyone wants to play, everyone's a great kid on the team, everybody wants to go play and go show. The family's probably in the stands, they want to see him play. So I feel like I can be a little like gut wrenching or maybe a little bad feeling in the stomach. Evidently, the team at that point was performing really, really well, and I'm not going to take myself out. So, and I've been on the other side of it, so I obviously feel, some, like it happens and it sucks.
We're talking about all this kind of competition you would take the whole way up. Do you think that's one of the reasons you've learned to become such a great person in the film room? Because your brother said you were a film junkie all the way back to high school. Is that one of the reasons? Because you had to get every edge possible to be the guy?
Yeah, I would say it's at every edge as possible. I would say it would also give me the confidence because, sometimes when you're not the guy and you're the backup, and it's just like how it is, like how the locker room acts when you're the backup and not the starter, or maybe how the coaches act. You want to have that internal confidence. And the way you get the confidence is through preparation. So when I see maybe that starter is actually better than me. When I'm studying, 2 more hours of film them every single night or every day, and I'm throwing after practice way more than him, and I'm working hard in the weight room, and I'm having better nutrition than him, I'm having better sleep than him. All these things add up. So it starts to convince my mind, hey, I have more confidence. Hey, I'm better than this guy. I deserve to be there. And then it puts me in a good mentality when I get in the game. Like one of my mentors says, when Tom Brady says, when he said it, Jeff, when they put me in the game, I knew it was never going to come out. So it kind of wired my brain in that mentality.